Hey, what's up? It has been some time since I've posted. So quick recap. I was in Honduras. It was a great trip. I had a great time. Got to see my family, spend quality time with them. It was wonderful and much needed. I came back and I didn't have a job. I quit. I left my job before going to Honduras, right? So I was under the assumption. I had two friends that said that I could get a job with where they were working, and well, I made a mistake of just assuming that were to be 100% certain, and so that didn't come to be, and so I ended up scrambling trying to find a job sooner rather than later because my funds are practically depleted, which it is what it is. Not that it's not a concern, obviously. And so finally found something starting on Monday, and here I am. Haven't been posting just because I've been really preoccupied, and this has not been a priority for me, though I'm not fond of having to say that, because I told myself I'd make a video every week. So I'm going to try to catch up by posting 2 videos a week. So yeah, cool. So got that out of the way. Well, here's something that I want to, I suppose, in a way, reiterate, but differently, I suppose. So again, part of the purpose of these videos is because I am trying to demonstrate, I suppose, in real time the effect, I suppose is maybe the right word, of my faith. And what I mean by that is I am currently in a place in my life where you could argue is not a great place to be, right? And especially now. I mean, I was somewhat before, but now it's definitely gone very arguably worse. Well, no, so again, I haven't been working, and I've still had expenses, and so literally my funds have been practically depleted. So I'm running on very, 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 very low fumes. Okay. Now, I'll say that for a second. Now, having said that, though, you'll notice I say that somewhat nonchalantly, not with anxiety and stress, even though it is concerning, even though it does cause me some level of concern. I don't want to say anxiety per se, but yes, anxiety too. The reason I'm able to stay composed and calm in the storm, let's say, is because of my faith. And what I mean when I say that really is that I have no doubt in my mind that regardless of the tribulation that I am put through, because it is ordained by God, that ultimately everything's going to play out the way it's supposed to play out, and whatever that way is, it is going to best serve me and others as well, right? Now, easy to say, and as long as I'm struggling, but it could be worse, and that's just how my mind works, and it's anyways. So, cool. Now, here's something in regards to my faith that I have needed to really, really gather as much of my faith and really believe it, is this new job I found. So I've been one of the reasons I have been struggling to some extent about finding a job is because there's certain limitations I put in place for myself, I guess you could say. What I mean by that is there's 3 things I'm looking for in a job. The first thing is obviously decent pay. For me, that currently is at a bare minimum $25 an hour, which is $52,000 a year, which to me is still nothing. Better than nothing, right? Not literally nothing, but hey, whatever. Okay, cool. That's 1. 2, something that's going to teach me something. What I mean by that is I would not work at Amazon where all I do is the same mundane task over and over and over all day, where I'm not bettering myself, or maybe I am to some extent, but not. No. So So something that I am able to learn and develop myself into more than what I was, right? Cool. That was the second one. And then the third one is a job that will not require me to work more at max 50 hours a week. But really, I'm looking for like maximum of 45 hours a week. Like in other words, 9 hours a day, 5 days a week, max, preferably. Why? Because I want to make my I want to find a 9 to 5 because I need that to maintain my financial aspect of my life, right? I got things to pay, but I want to use my 5 to 9 to build a career, build a life, build an empire, whatever you want to call it, to become what I am ordained to become. Because I am not ordained to be an employee for the rest of my life. I don't believe that to be true. And so, yeah, there's that, right? So, that's why I told myself I will not work a job if they require me to work more than 50 hours a week. Preferably, I'm looking for no more than 45. And so, I mean, there were like 2 or 3 jobs that I had to say no to because of that, which it is what it is, right? And now, again, you could say, well, that's stupid. You need the money, this and that. And yes, and that's true. That is true. But I don't know, my faith, right? And if I'm wrong, okay, well, time will tell. Time will tell. But this new job, well, it was one of the first jobs I interviewed for, and the main thing that led me to ultimately decide to move forward with this job truly is the individual with whom I interviewed with, which is one of the co-owners of this company. Can't remember the name, but that's fine. But in essence, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be selling bonds, particularly private equity bonds. For those of you that don't know, to be able to purchase this bond, you need to be a accredited investor. Accredited, is that the right word? No. I think that is whatever. I can't remember. I'm having a brain fart. But in other words, you have to have at least $2 million of assets, not including your primary home, and you have to be making at least $200,000 a year if you are single for the last 2 years and expected to be continuing down the next couple of years, or $300,000 if you're married, right? And same overall concept. Cool. Okay. The person I spoke with, he told me about, I asked him a bunch of questions about like kind of, what are these bonds attached to, this and that and that, blah, 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 blah. But ultimately, what I really liked was, one, the person I spoke with, so I decided to do this thing to become an employee of this company and work for these individuals, because there's 2 of them. Because I'm trusting my faith. In other words, I'm trusting my gut. Like something in me said, hey, you should do this. Right? Now, why? Well, for starters, the individual I spoke with, and I'm pretty good. I'm not perfect, but I'm pretty good at gauging when somebody is pure-hearted, right? Being sincere, being real and honest, and so forth and so forth. Cool. And that's what I got from him. And that is someone who is, walking down a path of serving others, right? And that's what he is doing, as far as I can tell. Cool. That's 1. 2, developing yourself. So here's the risk part, or the me putting my faith in part, that I had to gather a lot on, because there was definitely, I had doubt. And to some extent, I still do, but I am choosing to ignore that doubt and just full on like, hey, let's do this. Let's make it work. They are just starting this. The bond is literally just recently released into the market, and so you could say it's like they're starting a new business per se. They already have businesses, but I'm not going to go into all the details. Okay, cool. Well, that's risky because, as far as anyone can tell, potentially the bonds may not sell. People may not want to buy them, and this and that and this, right? Okay, cool. And also the pay. The pay is very, very, very low, but that's because of the bonus structure. There's like some point system, and with the amount that you sell, you get X amount, right? Okay, cool. And it's pretty good the way it's structured. But here's the point. One, is it further developing me? Oh, heck yeah. I've already, like, just in our initial conversation, I learned a lot of things I didn't already know, and it excited me, the things that I learned and understood from that phone call. Cool. Two, I'm working with good people, as far as I can tell, right? Who are morally aligned, the same, to some level, the same way I am. Great. Three, there is great potential for financial stability with this. Now, there's a great potential that I end up in a worse hole, right? But again, my gut, I'm trusting it, and I'm following my faith. Or I'm putting my faith in my decision to follow my gut. That's a better way of saying it. Okay, cool. 4, I get to choose my hours, although we'll see how that goes. Because it's the starting company, so I am concerned that ultimately I may need to put more than the amount of hours I want to put in, but we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna have to navigate that with the help of the Lord. And then ultimately 5, oh yeah, I just along with the whole developing myself and the opportunity to learn something or learn things I didn't already know, I also see it as a great opportunity to develop a relationship with these two guys who I established from the get-go. These guys are further along in, not necessarily in life, I don't want to say it like that, but like further along in terms of development, maybe, I think is a good way of saying it, of like who I want to be. I want to be somebody who is wise, which I am, but wiser. I always want to be as wise as I can be, evermore. So someone who is really wise, someone who's more successful than I am from the extent of serving people and getting financial compensation from doing such, which they both are much more than I am, and someone who also like understands my morals and my purpose in life, I suppose, because I did talk to that first guy about not a lot, I didn't go into any details, but my faith and my morals and that, and we were in agreement on that. So I was like, oh, okay, this is great. So all of that led me to say, hey, screw it, I'm going all in on this. I'm trusting my gut, and I'm putting my faith in me, trusting my gut, and praying that the Lord just guide me in this new path that I'm taking and this choice that I made, and let the Lord do what the Lord does, right? And so that's where I'm at. I start Monday, and boom, cool. Where am I at on time? Go away. Okay. And so, yeah, there's that. One last thing I want to talk about, and then I'll finish this off, because this is somewhat relevant in my life currently right now. I'll make this short. Yeah, no, I don't want to talk about that. I just had a different thought. How do I want to verbalize my thoughts here? So I met this girl, and I like her. She's dope. Don't want to go into the details of that, not for this video, but here's the what I do want to go into, again, with the whole faith thing, right? I think I've stated before that I do have faith, okay? I do have faith that the Lord has prepared for me someone out there, maybe already in my life, I don't know, but that there is someone that the Lord has prepared for me to serve, and who will serve me, and who we will serve together our children and build an empire together. Right? Okay, cool. I do believe that. However, I also state, not often, but I know I've stated this, for example, to my dad, that I believe as well with that the Lord has already ordained exactly what is to happen to me in my life, and that there is no reason for me to believe that there is a possibility that it may just be, again, I don't believe this to be true, but I don't know, and I'm not, right, that it may be that the Lord maybe does not want me to have that a person, a wife, and kids, and all that jazz, right? Now, why am I bringing that up, though? Why am I stating that? Well, two reasons. So again, with the whole faith thing, I do believe that is to be true, that is what the Lord wants for me, and I pray for it. But one of the reasons why I also make sure that I remind myself, hey, that may not end up being what I get, is because who am I to say I don't ever want to shake my fist at God? That is, it's one of those things that I just, to me, it's like a death sentence, per se. Like, I know that sounds dramatic and bad. That's not how I intended to sound. But no, like, wow, God is perfect. God is righteous. Trust in that. I trust in that. And so ultimately, if God ordains, hey, listen, bud, you're not going to have a wife and you're not going to have kids, who am I to be like, what the hell? What's wrong with you? Why would you do such a thing? Right? No, I don't want to do that. Okay, that's one aspect of it. So that's one of the parts. Here's the other part, though. So with this girl, like, I like her a lot. I've developed some feelings for her. Now, this is something that I've recently started, not recently, but in this example, with this experience with this girl, I'm gathering more intel or more conscious awareness, let's say, of such, which is this, is, so, you know, I started getting more feelings than I would naturally want, and when that happens to me personally, because it's happened to me in the past, I just overthink things, right? Like, if she doesn't respond for some time, or if she says something in a way that can come off kind of like she's displeased or whatever, right? I tend, when I allow my feelings to get attached too much, or like, you know what I mean? I overthink things, right? And that's not good. So recently I had a let's call it a revelation or a epiphany, I don't know, that was happening, and I pray to the Lord that He helps me navigate new things in my life, this and that, whatever, and He, God bless Him, He tends to listen to me, not always, obviously, because that's just, if He doesn't listen to me, it's because if He did, it wouldn't lead me to the ultimate goal, right? Something like that. So, but here's the point. I came to this conclusion because I was trying to figure out, I'm like, why is this happening? Like, why am I getting this way? Like, I don't, like, in the beginning when we were talking, I was not like that. I was very nonchalant. I was like, she didn't respond. Like, it's all good, you know? She's busy. She's got a life. There could be many reasons why she didn't respond. I don't have to assume it's the worst one. I don't have to assume that she doesn't like me anymore. What have you? Like, why assume that? There's no necessity for me to do that, right? That's how I think. My logic. But then it started happening once I really started catching feelings. And then so I'm like, why am I doing that? I don't like that. This is not a good thing for me or for her, right? So I came to this conclusion for now. Because again, this is how I am interpreting it, and thus far it has been helping. So as long as something helps me and helps me better myself and others, hey, let's run with it, right? Which is this. So because I am not putting enough faith in the Lord. What I mean by that is this. Okay, so I am, to some extent, letting my ego take over, right? Why? Well, because I want her. I like her. I want to please her. I don't want to do anything wrong, and to avoid the risk of her not wanting to talk to me, her not wanting me. Like, I'm being not selfish. I don't think that's the right word, but it's my ego. My ego is like, hey, you want that, get that. Why isn't she responding? This isn't, negative emotions, negative feelings. That's what the ego does. So, cool, but why is that happening? Because I'm not putting faith in the Lord. No, what I mean by that exactly is this. So, again, having said what I stated earlier about the whole, I do believe that he has somebody for me, but I also understand that ultimately his call is final. Like, whatever he ordains, it is what it is, and I have to accept that, right? And I have to trust in that, even more important. And so that's what I mean when I say I didn't have faith in him. So I'm getting all stressed out and letting my ego come through and take control, when it's like, hey, go, stop. You like this girl, that's fine. But just because she doesn't respond, and just because she doesn't reciprocate whatever it is that you want her to reciprocate, that doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. That doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. Because ultimately, again, I want her to be the one, right? Like, that is why I'm getting all whatever, because I want her to be the one. But I don't know if she is the one. As far as I know, she may not be, right? And so me telling myself those kinds of things has got me back into a level mind of like being like, hey, chill. As far as I can tell, maybe there's just a part of it, right? Maybe we're just not want to talk for some time. I don't know. But the point of what I'm trying to say is, if you have trust and faith in the Lord, you shouldn't be stressed out about and have anxiety about those things. Again, if you have some initially, it is what it is, right? But me reminding myself, wait a minute, hey, take a step back. Why are you stressing out and getting anxious? First of all, establish that. Once I establish that, then I tell myself, hey, now that you know why you're stressed out and anxious, I gotta remember it, bro. There's no need for it. There really isn't, because ultimately she may not be the one. And does that suck? Yeah. Do I want to believe that? No, I don't. And I don't, by the way. I don't believe that is to be the case. But again, because I don't know, I just need to stay calm and put my faith and trust in the Lord. And ultimately, things are going to play out the way they're supposed to play out. Don't do anything rash. Don't do anything stupid. Don't act in a way that is ugly, let's say. And just do your best and let the Lord guide you. Ultimately, I think that's the point. That's how I want to end this. It's just, gotta remind yourself, man, like, dear Lord, please give me your guidance in this, whatever it is, in this new relationship I've developed, in this new employment or business endeavor, whatever it is. Give me your guidance. Help me understand how to navigate this, and help me understand what it is that you want this experience or whatever it is to do for me, because that's what it is, right? So okay, anywho, hopefully that was useful. And yeah, stay blessed.